you have a hard time sleeping sometimes because you're like, here I am watching TV in my nice warm bed, and you think of those people you saw today. They're out in the cold, you know.
And he said to me, the only thing I want is to have my dignity and to have people care about me.
And like I said, wasn't for these guys here, you guys, there'd be a lot of starving and hurting people right now.
What we discovered was that the best way to reach people who aren't engaged in church at all is to give them meaningful opportunities to serve the poor. And in doing that, they experience a community that's following Jesus, and they actually experience the gospel for the first time in their lives.
This is New Bedford. It's a beautiful city. It's a city with a rich history and a colorful past. This was where the whaling industry was, and this was the city that was considered the place that lit the world. And today, it's the largest fishing port in the United States. The industry has left, but we're still filled with a city filled with many cultures, diversity, and that's what I think makes this city so alive and vibrant, is that all these cultures are mixed here, and you can just take a walk around Anchor Ministries and you can discover people from all over the world. New Bedford happens to be the ground zero for the opioid epidemic that's sweeping the United States. Heroin addiction is a huge problem in this city, and that stares you right in the face when we go out and distribute food, and you realize that so many of the homeless that we're serving are addicted to drugs, and so there's a huge need here for the church to be present in this city.
So Anchor Ministries started as really as a friendship between Dave and I that started about 6 years ago. Dave started coming to Pacific Union, and one of the things that brought him to faith was actually our missions project to Honduras.
So God really spoke to me through those experiences. I kind of still didn't know how I felt a lot of the time, seeing that they were real, you know, and they were putting their faith into action.
We realized that we couldn't be in Honduras all the time, and so we started thinking about what would it look like to do an outreach in our own city here in New Bedford, which is about 10 miles from where our church is. And we were eating at the Orchid Diner, and right across the street is this truck.
I asked him what it was about, and he's like, oh, we go to different areas and we feed the homeless. And but our main purpose is to give hope and bring Jesus Christ into their lives.
He volunteered, and next thing you know, he got me to volunteer.
One day, Pastor Nate looks at me as we're preparing food, and he goes, hey, how about if you think someday we have our own run? And I laughed at him. I was like, yeah, okay, like we're not busy enough. We got so much going on. And it happened. It happened.
And what struck me was how easy it was to get non-Christians to come and volunteer and serve the working poor and the homeless. And a lot of them were Dave's friends, particularly from the bar where his family owns down the south end of the city. And
the people from the bar started to see what was going on. Other people started talking like, hey, I went and helped Dave serve the homeless. All of a sudden, we're getting clothes donations here. We're getting a bunch of people who want to come and try it out. And once they try it out, they kind of get hooked. And then we're serving alongside each other.
So I started going. The next thing you know, I started liking it. You know, something to do, you know, on the side and stuff, and had fun, you know, met a lot of different people, you know, met the homeless people on the streets and stuff, and you know, it's like a total different world, you know what I'm saying, when you see stuff like that, and you're like, you look at yourself and you go to bed and you say, wow, thank God I got a bed, and half these guys don't have one.
And it dawned on us that people were starting to treat this experience that they were having of serving the poor, and then we were studying the Bible, and people are saying, wow, this is church.
You know, we come across people, we pray for them, we see transformation in their lives, we see how they come from the tents in the communities around here, and then we see them going back to work and getting their children back. You know, we just need them to come to Christ, become part of our faith community.
So what happened was, when we were out with mobile ministries, we noticed that we were serving and, you know, giving people clothes and food. We were praying with people, but then after that, we'd close the truck up and we'd leave. And we're kind of thinking like, well, what happens after that? Where do they go? What do they do?
We started looking around for a building, and we found a storefront space in the north end of the city where we could have a physical presence. So And it allowed us to expand into other ministries, such as, hey, we fed you yesterday on the truck. Come meet us there tomorrow. We can talk about your addiction issues and how we can find the next step for you to grow and to get out of the problems that you're in, or maybe help you get connected to a job, or maybe just need friends. You know, maybe just want to sit and have lunch with us and just talk about life and the difference Christ has made in our lives. And so that's kind of how Anchor was born. And then a couple of years later, Sarah came with her husband Steve, and from Cincinnati, and they had this vision for anti-trafficking. And
we meet women who are not there by choice. You know, they're being exploited, they're being taken advantage of, and most people just pass them by. And when we stop and we talk with them, and they see that someone cares about them and they're not trash, most of them feel like they're garbage. And when we get to talk with them and listen to them and look them in the eye and hear their story, there's something very powerful and very redeeming there.
And we're there to have the love of God to go through us, and they experience that. And when they experience that, they change. Their hearts begin to change.
I hate to say it. I mean, I kind of feel like a king right now. I mean, even though I'm homeless, but I mean, it wasn't for the love I got right here, I'd be dead. I'd be a dead man.